Okay. I think we're okay. It's so tough to tell. Okay, there we go. Yep. Okay, we're live on the Friday. No question about it. Will we be live later? Yes. Are you kidding me? It's a very busy weekend. And next week, a historic week, without question. Yep. No doubt about it. Folks, McGreed under fire. That was an embarrassment yesterday. Wow. Whew. I've been told Hasbro executives couldn't believe what they were watching. Who would want to do business with someone? Well, we'll get to it. Folks, don't forget this weekend specials at K's. There it is. Love it. Now, okay. Now, a couple reminders. By the way, there was a. We'll get to that in a moment. All right, 2 minutes till we're live. Yes, Road Patrol live later. I want to remind you, PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, they are open. That's exactly right. Everything you need. The great weather for planting is perfect right now. I also want to remind you, we're going to talk to them, folks. Rhode Island Guns and Ammo. You know my saying, which is don't retreat, reload. You do have the right to defend yourself. Governor McKee continues to make the state more dangerous with his Harris-Biden sanctuary state policies. Rhode Island Guns and Ammo. Stop in and see George, whether you're a longtime firearm enthusiast or maybe brand new. Post Road in Warwick. It's Rhode Island Guns and Ammo, right near Greg's, right off Route 37. Also a reminder, all these leaves that are out there, maybe you're going to have your leaves picked up, or maybe you want a tree taken out or branches trimmed. JD's Lawn Care and Tree Service. Call them today, 401-441-0154, located right in Coventry. JD, think of me, Lawn Care and Tree Service. Now, I also, if you need a better vehicle, stop it and see Paul at Valari Motors, Park Avenue in Cranston. And we'll touch on some of our other reminders and supporters. I'm seeing people that want to get some painting done for the holiday, and we're going to tell you how you can do that in just a moment. And we are live right now at 1:06 on this Friday. Folks, good afternoon. Welcome to November. This is the real news, and it is what a time to be alive, what a historic time to be alive. And it's brought to you by PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Now, again, another beautiful day, cooler weather coming in this weekend. Stop it and see them. PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, 3688 Quaker Lane, North Kingstown. Homegrown mums and kale, pumpkin straw bales. They have fresh vegetables. This is an ideal time in order to do some planting the next couple of weeks. Less watering, a little bit cooler at night, but less watering. There's a great time. Stop in and see them. They're open 7 days a week. It's PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Folks, don't forget DePietro.com, which is brought to you by the Coesit Inn. Now, we have everything combined is at DePietro.com. And what I mean by that is we post a lot of our original video. We break a lot of different stories. We have all the stories on the Central Falls shooting, the aftermath of that. You hear me mention Road Patrol. It's a happening. Plus, there's links to our online store with great merchandise, Road Patrol merchandise. We also have links to our Facebook page, Instagram page, X, Twitter, YouTube, and also TikTok. It's right there. It's at the website, DePietro.com. Brought to you by the Coesit Inn, 226 Coesit Avenue, West Warwick. Lunch, dinner, drinks, and lounge. They're waiting for you. Excuse me, at the Coesit Inn. Now, on this Friday, the real news. So I'll reveal. I don't know. As many of you know, I mean, I gravitate towards people that tell me something that I don't know. I'm all about that. Just that's the type of sources of news that I look for, is things that I don't know. So I honestly, I don't listen to, I'm not talking about our station, AM 1380, 99.9 FM. I'm talking about the McKee station down the dial. I don't listen because they don't tell me anything I don't know. If there was real, I mean, well, anyhow, let me just get to the point. So I voted early. I voted this morning. And I have no idea if those people tell you who they vote for, who they don't for. I was in the car this morning, and I did, as I was on my way to vote, and I heard the cackle say, I don't know who I'm going to vote. You know, I think I may write someone in. I may write in Vivek. Listen, I'm going to be very clear. And when I walked up to vote, the woman that was there, and it was quick and it was easy. Couple of things. I can't stand the fact that I have a Democrat state senator, I have a Democrat state rep, and running unopposed is just mind-blowing to me. But very clearly, when I went up, the woman said, I think I know who you're voting for. And of course, yes, in this election and what we're seeing play out, to me, here's the thing. I also recognize we're not in a battleground state. Do our votes really matter? I voted yes for the Constitutional Convention on question 1. You should vote yes. Whenever the status quo, all of the state house, they don't want to change anything. There should be. And it's not for some of the reasons that people talk about. As far as we need an inspector general, I'm not saying we don't need one, but it would be watered down anyway. I firmly believe the only change that we're going to see is going to have to come from Washington. And so, yes, of course, I voted for President Trump. To me, it's not even a question. And I'll just lay out some of my reasons. Again, everyone votes for whoever they want to. We are not a battleground state. I know all these people. I voted for Patricia Morgan, of course, which you should as well. The state right now, and especially what McKee, the stunt he pulled yesterday, Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee, and he doesn't even understand. If I wanted to give him benefit of the doubt, he doesn't even understand that what he's doing is ethically wrong. Do you know he is surrounded by high-paid attorneys, and they're on staff, state employees, and what are they there for? To provide legal guidance to whoever the governor is, whether it was Gina Raimondo, this time it's Governor McKee, whoever it may be. So Governor McKee claims he has. Do you realize that you're paying the salaries? Whenever you have a state employee, it's taxpayer-funded money that pays for it. You have attorneys at the Rhode Island State House that work directly for the governor that are paid $190,000, $200,000, full benefits, vacation, pension, blah, blah, the whole thing. So what does he do? Does he seek out their advice on whether or not he should testify regarding this contract? And the attorney general wants to question him, and the state police want to investigate, talk to him, and the feds, the FBI want to talk to him. What does he do? Does he seek out the legal opinion of the paid attorneys that we pay for on the staff? No. He claims he gets free legal advice from a lobbyist, former speaker, total insider, Bill Murphy. My point on that is McKee doesn't even realize there's nothing free here. You don't think Murphy wants something in return? Let alone, so now he's getting free advice? He's not even paying Murphy? If Governor McKee said, listen, I paid him. Okay. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't use the attorneys we have, but at least but this business now that there's a problem ethically that he's not even paying him for that free legal. Who's next? The heavy hitter? McKee doesn't even recognize or doesn't care that he's not even paying for legal advice. Folks, as I have said, every time, every month goes by, in my mind, Governor McKee, all he does is continue to demonstrate he's not up for the job. And I don't get the whole thing yesterday. He brings the First Lady. I don't know First Lady Sue McKee. I mean, she seems like a very nice individual. They have nice children, whole thing. I get that. He brings her to the press conference to show it's been very upsetting, and then attacks the state police. I wouldn't sit with those state police. That's a trap. And flips the whole thing on Nerona. This is really simple. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, other than it's already been exhausted. He influenced how this contract was given out. Spare me the outrage that he's insulted. The word bribery was even mentioned. Excuse me. Let's remember, this is the 401. As Buddy Cianci said, we invented corruption. I mean, look at Ed Dupree. Cianci, these people went to prison. John Salona. So the holier than thou, how I am insulted that anyone would think that I would save us that. That's falling on deaf ears. He is tone deaf. He's not up for the job, period. I don't know. It's no reflection to me on how he is as a spouse, the son, the mother was in the ads, the children, the grandchild that we're going to take trick-or-treating. None of that. He's not up for it. And he doesn't surround himself with people that are up for the job. For him to turn around and say he clearly interfered with this contract, you had a person in the email bragging that it was a rigged bid. It wouldn't be the first time. By the way, won't be the last time. Rigged bid. And for him, how dare anyone? I mean, save it. I've heard this whole thing before. The only thing Attorney General Peter Nerona said was they couldn't prove what he got in return. Not that there wasn't a bribe paid. They couldn't prove what the bribe was. Now, I've told you, I've heard two things. Number one, McKee had his eyes set on a large bribe. Again, it can come in different forms. They were going to pay a bill for him. They were going to donate all this campaign money. There's different ways to skin a cat, so to speak. But then because the whole thing blew up, suddenly then he's like the bank robber that looks around, sees security, and says, yeah, I just came in to open a checking account, as he's got, a gun in his pocket and a car waiting outside. So he couldn't execute it, and he's angry at Nerona, the Attorney General, and Channel 12 for exposing that this quid pro. How about McKee said, I don't even know what this means, quid pro quo. He knows exactly what it means. Ridiculous. But I can tell you, folks, we have, and I don't like saying this, but we have hit rock bottom. There's no leadership. Now Providence Place Mall being placed in receivership. So let me go back to voting. Yes, to me, it's not even a question. Do I believe Harris when she says, oh, I'm going to surround myself with people I disagree with? I don't believe that. And history has shown she doesn't even mean that. They're look at whether it's McKee won't meet with the Republicans at the State House. Raimondo wouldn't meet with the Republicans at the State House. They're progressive Democrats. They're not Joe Manchin. They don't reach across the aisle. The biggest joke, Seth Magaziner, I believe it. They don't believe in any of that. They don't. They're elitists. They think they're above that. So I don't believe that. We have a problem right now of law and order. And when you go back to the Afghanistan pullout, to an open border, that every state feels like a border state, unless you have security, nothing else matters. If you don't have safety, if people don't feel safe, nothing else matters. Harris, they pulled a coup. They pushed old man Biden out of the way. Right now, I believe President Trump believes in school choice. But most importantly, President Trump believes America must be safe, and we're not safe. Now, what he will also do is this is going to turn the corruption of the McKee administration on its head. Folks, we don't have, I voted. I did vote. We're not a battleground state. Ready? Spoiler alert. Biden's going to win Rhode Island. Yes. Harris is going to win Rhode Island. Harris is going to win Massachusetts. I don't care what the people can stand out there, do honking waves, drive around, everything. I am telling you right now. I'm not saying not to go out and vote, but you need to go into certain areas where it's wall-to-wall Harris wall signs. There are people that move to our part of the country because of the politics. The same way that some people move to Texas, move to Florida, move to the Carolinas, move to Georgia, move to some of these states because of the red politics. The same is true for why people are moving to Rhode Island, Mass, and Connecticut because of the Elizabeth Warrens, because of the Senator Whitehouses, because of the Governor Healey's, because of the Governor McKee's. So I don't want, I had someone say, Kennedy's on the ballot. That could cost, but listen, the election is Tuesday. The Rhode Island Republican Party saw the ballot. They didn't do anything. Why are you contacting me? Contact the Rhode Island Republican Party. So the local elections, but matter whether it's your city, town, obviously the mayoral races. But I am telling you, the only thing that's really going to flip this part of the country is federal mandates, whether it's education. They should dismantle the Department of Education. This is crazy. We need, I'll tell you why, because the only thing that's going to throw out a crook, and he is like a Dan McKee, it's going to have to come from Washington. Because look at the way he is corrupted and allows the station down the dial, WMKRO, to constantly run interference for him and run PR campaigns for him. Between the failed bridge, between the companies that want out of here, they don't want to be here. The special interest, the public unions run and own McKee. And it's to our detriment. You know, all of this stuff he mentions about, we're opening these learning centers, blah, blah, blah. Do you know why he's doing all those things? Because he has waved the white flag of surrender to the powerful teachers unions that he won't go against. So then he tries to nibble at the edges and open these other little things with their permission. There is no leadership from the ridiculous idea of is there anyone in the state right now that thinks a priority right now is to build the most expensive minor league soccer stadium in the country? It's sheer lunacy. It doesn't make sense because, of course, it doesn't make sense. We're going to pay for the Superman building. That's a private developer. He bought it. He made a bad investment. If he had bought it for, which he did, 40 million, and if suddenly he could flip it for 80, would he be giving money to the state? No. Too bad. It is broken. And what we saw yesterday attacking the Attorney General and the state police, think of this just for a moment. Rhode Island, a sitting governor says, there's no way that was a trap set for me by the state police. Folks, what does that tell you? It is broken beyond repair. What do you think the executives at CVS and Hasbro and anyone else that's left thinks as they're watching that? Does that look like someone you want to do business with? He is an unhinged, morally challenged, to put it mildly, individual. Folks, this portion of our program is brought by AJ Home Improvement. Listen, maybe you want to get your home painted, inside of your home painted for the holidays. Maybe you want to have some work done. AJ Home Improvement. Call them 401-323-9252. Call them for the acoustical ceilings that they can do. They can do additions, commercial rehabs, painting, remodeling, home or business. Call AJ Home Improvement today. I share their Facebook page, 401-323-9252. Now, Helen sent me a message. Helen is a female soccer coach. Helen heard me mention a great place to take children to have their end of year soccer banquet, kids club on the Pike, birthday parties, team banquets, before and after school programs, preschool programs. They're right on the Cranston Johnston line. It's safe, it's clean, it's designed for children. Kids Club on the Pike, right there, Cranston Johnston line on Plainfield Pike. Look for them on Facebook. It's ideal location. Someone said, well, we try to get the kids to go to Dave & Buster's. Dave & Buster's, Providence Place Mall is closing. More of the McKee magic. Folks, don't you see that the state is in beyond decline? Governor McKee is not the right person for the job. He's not. And by the way, I also want to mention, as much as people say, elections have consequences and blah, blah, blah. Listen, as I've said in the past, that's not who the voters wanted. I want to be very clear. Now, I try to be supportive of the Rhode Island Republican Party because they're not the party in power, and they have met very many people that are good people, and they're trying to change things. But one of the biggest things, and I've talked about this, that needs to be altered is our system of elections. Forget about President Trump. A Republican has not won statewide or district-wide since Governor Carcieri was reelected barely in 2006. In the next election cycle is going to be the 20-year anniversary. There's something wrong. So, in the new year, as I keep saying, House Minority Leader Mike Chippendale, Senate Minority Leader Jessica De La Cruz, they all talk about we need an inspector general, and I am telling you what we need is we have to reform our elections, and I'm very specific about it. The way we have to reform our elections is Massachusetts and Connecticut only allow one person. You cannot collect more than 10 ballots, these mail ballots. Georgia, they stopped doing it the way they do in the pandemic. Why doesn't Rhode Island stop doing it the way we did it in the pandemic? Those mail ballots have destroyed democracy. I want to repeat, the mail ballot system we have, unverified, no signature, has destroyed democracy in the state. Period. End of story. The only party that can do anything about that is the Rhode Island Republican Party. They're the ones that have a voice. They have to make it a priority. I'll go back 2 years ago. Helena Folks, she won day of voting, and they were pretty even with early voting. But Governor McKee won because of the mail ballots. 2 years ago, Cranston Mayor Alan Fung, he won day of voting in the 2nd Congressional District against Seth Magaziner. He won. He beat him by 9,000 votes, and they were pretty even with early voting. Then why is Magaziner in Congress? Fung got 4,000 mail ballots. Magaziner got 14,000. Pushed him over the top. It's not legitimate. They go into these nursing homes, assisted living. They block out the Republicans. It's union nurses. They don't let the Republicans in, and they grab anybody there, whether they're in a coma, dementia ward, the union nurses. What do you think they do? They collect all the ballots. There's 600 people in a facility. That's 600 votes. And then Aaron Gukian, he won day of voting against Sabina Matos for lieutenant governor. He won the city of Warwick. But because she was with McKee and Magaziner, she is lieutenant governor because of the mail ballots. Again, unsolicited mail ballots. There's no reason to have voting start as early as it does. There's no reason. And folks, I've been so clear. If you want legitimate elections, we're not that far off. Massachusetts and Connecticut, if we just fell in line with them, we're the outlier. Massachusetts, one person cannot collect more than 10 ballots. Connecticut, one person cannot collect more than 10 ballots. Rhode Island, it's unlimited. People can collect 500 ballots, 1,000 ballots, 800 ballots. All they have to do is change that. But what I am convinced of is the only way we're really going to get change. It's got to come from the federal level. President Trump, they need, with a Trump attorney general, they need a real investigation on that bridge because there were people lining their pockets. Notice Governor McKee has no interest in exploring what went wrong with the bridge. You have John Igliosi, chief of staff at DOT, the McGreed radio station down the dial. They don't mention he was going to run for attorney general. He's hitting up all the vendors for the bridge to fund his run for attorney general. That's how corrupt. He should be terminated. People should be terminated. That bridge, they received $4 billion and it's falling apart. Where'd the money go? Governor McKee, well, it'll only be closed for 3 months. Yeah, dream on. Governor McKee, the big expert on the procurement, the big expert on contracts. No one even wants to bid on his bridge project. And yet he's protected down the dial. Totally protected. Folks, this portion of our program, remember, though this is the real news. If you're thinking of getting your driveway paved or parking lot, J. Perry Paving, call them today, 401-732-1730. 401-732-1730, letter J. J. Perry Paving. High quality, fair pricing, exceptional service, free estimate, J. Perry Paving. 401-732-1730. And remember, no one's better to veterans than letter J. J. Perry Paving. So I did. Of course I did. Of course I cast my ballot for President Trump. Folks, as someone that does road patrol and I'm out there, no one at the State House. By the way, I just don't believe the elected Republicans at the State House with good intentions. I don't think they're hammering home on the issues that really matter. I'll continue to support them, but I don't think they really hammer home on the issues that matter. And a big thing in Rhode Island, the local media, they don't even want to report on it. They don't want to report that illegal immigration is a major problem. When I had on the candidate running against Seth Magaziner, I don't even, Gabe Amo basically running almost unopposed. The guy running against Seth Magaziner, does that seem like a real opponent? I had to bring up, why are we a sanctuary state? I'm out there every night. What do we hear? The Spanish-speaking officer needed. Folks, what no one even touches on is, and it's the same thing with these people, the Dominican Republic. They're not paying taxes. They have apartments. They live in the Dominican. Then they come here. They send their kids to the schools here. Then they go back to the Dominican. They go back and forth. But they're taking up space. They're taking up apartments. How many of them are here legally? They're not paying taxes the way real people, as far as real residents of the city are. No one at the State House even talks about, and as I have said this, you can disagree with me on various things. That's fine. But no one can answer a simple question. And I know McKee can't answer a simple question. Why is it with all of the illegals that are in the school system for Providence, Pawtucket, and Central Falls, no one will answer this simple fundamental question? Why do taxpayers in Rhode Island, why do they have to pay that you have people from other countries that come here, break the rules, overstay a visa, what have you? So they come here on a visa, only supposed to be 6 months. They overstay, then they just stay. Why is it that you and me and us, we have to pay for their children to get an education in an American public school? Why is that? And it costs millions, and it costs hundreds of millions. And no one, number one, our local media, they don't even ask the question. But at the same time, no elected official asked that question. No elected official can answer the question, why do we allow them to clog our emergency rooms? When's the last time someone goes to an emergency room? I hear from people. I went, oh my God, it was 8 hours. I was the only one there that spoke English and blah, blah, blah. Why is it allowed? Of course it shouldn't be allowed. There's no housing shortage in the state. The housing shortage, no one even points out the obvious. The housing shortage is all the illegals coming in and they live 10 and 12 in an apartment. And they take up a full triple decker and they're not paying taxes and they send their kids to the schools. And, you know, the situation is what the situation is, but it's not even addressed. So what you saw yesterday, that was a low point in the state, because if you're a business person, if you're thinking of either someone and you don't even hear about them anymore, thinking of moving to the state to provide private sector jobs, or staying, and you saw McKee yesterday, you saw a guy angry, you saw a governor unhinged. Just listen, Governor Dan McKee said President Biden is the greatest president of his lifetime. How many other people share that thought? Nobody shares that. I'll tell you how unplugged McKee is. Not even the Democrat Party believes that. That's why they pushed him out and put Harris in. I think Harris is going to lose. I do. It's going to come down to Pennsylvania. And people send me, there's a Trump honk. Listen, go ahead. Everybody vote. We're on the sidelines. I'm more concerned. I am. We are not a factor in this. And I want to repeat, I did. I voted for him. I voted for him for the third time. I voted for him in 16. I voted for him in 20. And I just already voted early for him. Period. Call up down the dial. Last time with the vote, well, I don't like to give it out. Yeah. Why do you think? Folks, but if I thought, could we ever be like New Hampshire and be a battleground, a state? Then, I wish, hold on, we can do next week. Okay. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to be reasonable about it. I think he's going to do much better than they think. I'm very concerned. I'm concerned at the direction of where I hear messaging. And what I mean by that is this stuff about the inspector general. We need an inspector general. Listen, I don't have a lot of confidence in how the state house, they find ways around. I mean, I was part of the group pushing for voter ID. But then look what happens. As soon as you have voter ID at the polls, they unleash all these unnotarized mail ballots. They find ways around. We need to have legitimate elections. We don't have legitimate elections. We also have to be honest. Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Jersey, New York, folks, we are the northeastern blue corridor. And I can share with you that as someone that has children in other states, when they encounter people, I don't hear anyone talk about this, but when they encounter people and they tell them where they're from, just a quick story, but I won't say which one. One of my children in a different state, speaking with a Republican representative, and I'll say potential job opportunity. As soon as they hear Rhode Island, they say, well, you got to realize like what our base is and where, this so-and-so is a conservative candidate. And folks, we have a bullseye. We are toxic. When they see Sabina Matos on TV, when they see Gabe Amo, when they see Senator Whitehouse, when they see McGreed, we have to deal with it. People don't think that way about New Hampshire because of Governor Chris Sununu. But when people hear Oh, you're from Rhode Island? They view us as like we live on a foreign planet. And it's going to begin and end. I believe, number one, and I've said this, our elections need to be straightened out. We have to. There's several things, but we really need a Republican in that office of Secretary of State. I don't want to get too far off. I know everyone thinks it's the governor. We need to, but I believe that let me back up for a moment. I believe with the President Trump, they want to redo. Every state should not have different voting guidelines. Think about that. Georgia straightened out. Georgia, they straightened out the way they're voting. They have a very strong voting system on the up and up. Pennsylvania has done a lot with their voting systems. Florida is one of the best and toughest. I want people to understand the Carolinas, definitely Georgia, Virginia. Governor Youngkin, he knocked illegals off the voting rolls. You don't have that in Rhode Island. Rhode Island, it's the honor system. So what I'm saying is I believe now, where I really believe there's going to be change, and the only chance I think we actually have for change would be that President Trump gets into office and they start to reform and go after states like Rhode Island. Do you realize we're one of the most egregious? We are one of the most egregious. Now, earlier this year, I interviewed the Secretary of State. And again, I give him credit for coming on. He was very nice. He reached out to me last year with the whole cancer surgery and so forth. So obviously, I'm partial to something like that. Seems like a nice enough guy. But then when we got to, and I'm not speaking out of school, I'd invite him again to have a conversation. When we got to the part about why do we operate differently than Mass and Connecticut, I believe his response was, well, I don't know how they do it. Now, I find that very difficult, if not impossible, to believe. But I think now, listen, if you have a Trump administration, all bets are off with the bridge. All bets are off. Would you give McKee that kind of money? Would you give McKee that kind of money? He was out of his mind yesterday. He really was. It was uncomfortable to watch. It was uncomfortable to watch that press conference or listen to it because we've now hit a point where he sounded like an angry, crooked politician. I'll say this about Cianci. As someone that covered, obviously I covered closer than anyone or as close as anyone, plundered all. Cianci at least had some humor. Yesterday, I almost expected McKee to say, you're not going to find any stains on this jacket. And his argument was ludicrous. So, and going after that it's a conspiracy set up by the Attorney General and also Helena Foulkes, that's what it was all about. But I can tell you that it was very disconcerting to business leaders to see someone as unhinged as McKee. And folks, you got to realize, if you're a business owner and you're looking at that, if he's willing to say he doesn't trust the state police, he doesn't trust the Attorney General, that gives people pause. That gives a lot of business owners pause on how and whether they want to continue to do business in the state with someone like that. He is really doing irreversible damage. And let's call it out. The bridge, it goes beyond hurting a few businesses in East Providence. It's hurting everyone. The flow of traffic, the way it backs up onto 95, the fact that no one's lost their job, no one's been demoted, no one's been suspended. It's a reflection on the governor. But folks, we've been seeing this. He had COVID money, and he started throwing it around like a drunken sailor. Governor McKee did, and giving bonuses. He gave state police $3,000 bonuses to wear their body cameras. No, it was an attempt to buy their vote. He gave the Providence Teachers Union bonuses, and then they ended up going with Nellie Gorbea. Governor McKee again, I only know him. When he first came in, I actually thought, wow, this is a breath of fresh air, so to speak, different than Gene and so forth. I thought, oh, okay. And plus, he was against Alorza. Now, again, I don't know what he was like really as mayor of Cumberland. And I didn't really deal with him as lieutenant governor. But this is someone to me clearly in over his head, in the bunker, angry at the press, angry at Channel 12, angry at the Globe, angry at the Journal, fighting with the Attorney General, fighting, and some of his expressions, they're so foolish. And my mother didn't raise no fool. Like, what are you talking about? You influenced a several $1 million contract with a quid pro quo. The email, the contract was awarded, and then he stepped in and halted it, and then gave out a more expensive contract to his friends. Don't say that you weren't involved. But it's so egregious with him attacking Attorney General Peter Nerona. I find it, and for those, I recognize there are some people that go after the Attorney General. Even I have Justin Katz on, and he criticizes him. This is my response. Do you have any idea how crooked Patrick Lynch was? The amount of people that Patrick Lynch get away with stuff? You know, they talk about the mayor of Central Falls. Patrick Lynch got his girlfriend a job for free Blue Cross at Central Falls City Hall. Attorney General Peter Kilmartin did not have one press conference in 8 years. The guy was taking every free trip imaginable. Attorney General Peter Nerona, I respect him. I like him. He's very accessible. They've done good work, and his cold case unit is making progress. And they just got another big conviction the other day. He's former U.S. attorney with the Meyer Brophy Bayerman case. So when you have a governor, which we do, 2 more years in office, by the way, won't sit down. Nope, I'm not talking with the state police. That's a trap. We collectively have a major problem. Major problem. His antics yesterday, that press conference, was, I don't know what, I'm still shaking my head. I don't know what they thought it was going to be. The big tough guy, the angry guy. My mother didn't raise no fool. Till hell freezes. Oh, he's the fighting Dan. Wow, what an embarrassment. What a disgrace. Who's the attorney? Oh, Bill Murphy, the lobbyist, the criminal defense attorney, Representative Vacola in Plunadome, former speaker. He gave me free. Oh, yeah, I'm sure he gave you free advice. There's an IOU attached to that. I guarantee it. Folks, this portion of our program, if you're thinking of a new kitchen or bath, Dreammaker, Bath and Kitchen, contact them today at 401-433-7272. Dennis and Christina, Dreammaker. They're right in Warwick. They're beautiful design center. They're right near Crown Plaza, right next to Kachai. It's Dreammaker, 401-433-7272. One-stop shop. They take you from concept to completion. If you're listening or watching on this Friday to the Real News as we have entered November, and you're thinking of new kitchen or bath, contact Dreammaker today. Remember, respect, integrity, customer focus, experience upgraded living with your bath or kitchen remodel today. 401-433-7272, 401-433-7272 for Dreammaker, enhancing lives and improving homes. Well, folks, I also want to remind you on this Friday, stop in and see George, Rhode Island Guns and Ammo, Post Road in Warwick. As we illustrate, you know, it's not your imagination. It's a dangerous time. There's a lot of dangerous crime out there. I don't know what's going to happen over the course of the next several days. There's definitely anxiety because of the election. We don't know how people are going to react after the election. We don't know when it's going to be decided. Will we know on Tuesday night who the new president is or who won the election? I don't know. Will we know on Wednesday? It's an unknown. It's an unknown. How will Democrat progressives, how are they going to react if it's a Trump Vance victory? Will there be rioting? It's tough to tell. Will Democrat politicians allow rioting the way Elorza did, the way Governor Walz did in Minnesota? Again, it's unknowable right now. I can tell you over the next week that I'm being, well, just as a program, I'm being cautious on making commitments on things because we don't know where it's going to go. We don't know. I mean, I will tell you, I think right now that the Trump campaign is firing on all cylinders. So many, what's interesting? The crooks, the people that defend criminals, they were always demanding police body cam. We want body cams. We demand body cams. They got their body cams. And what have we found? I mean, by and large, for the most part, it always seems to benefit the police because then we get an accurate depiction on what exactly took place. And we can rattle off, whether it was Senator Josh Miller, that goon, I want body cams. And we saw close up him lying to the Cranston police. You see it repeatedly. You saw it with a member of the Patriots. We demand body cams after George Floyd. We want body cams. They got body cams. And by and large, the police always seem to come out on top. Now, I just wonder if we're going to find the same thing with that. We want early voting. We want people voting earlier. It's astounding. Almost 50% of all voters have already voted. So I wonder if this is going to be one of these things that the Democrats could wake up and say, maybe we shouldn't have all this early voting. I mean, now you have some criminals saying, yeah, you shouldn't have police body cam. You shouldn't have police body cam. Now they're saying, oh, we don't like all this early voting. I am telling you right now that I think and it's very simple. It's very simple in my mind in some ways. I'll sum it up this way. You have to ask yourself, do you have the best team on the field? Last night, we did road patrol. For whatever reason, it was slow, but we'll be out this afternoon, tonight, tomorrow, Sunday, as long as it's dry, definitely next week. But so I got a chance to see some of the Thursday night game. And I'll tell you, that Aaron Rodgers, I mean, he was dialed in. If you saw that last night, something went off in him, whether it was the home game or whatever, something, he was like, you could just tell he was dialed in. Like, I am not losing this game. He ran for a big first down. Now, it got called back because of a penalty. And the Jets are the Jets. One of the receivers dropped the ball, which should have been his first touchdown. So, I mean, just moronic plays. But that Rodgers was dialed in. And he was like, I am not losing this election. I think you have to ask yourself right now, Harris Walz, not only are they not dialed in, they're not, I don't believe that they are the two best people that the Democrat Party could have put forward. And it begins and ends with that. So could President Trump have picked someone different than Vance? Maybe. I mean, it's possible. But no one was going to get the type of momentum and people pumped that he has. I'll say this about the Republican Party. They had their primary, and the most popular candidate won. I like Governor DeSantis. He win. I like Nikki Haley. She didn't win. You have to go with and ask yourself, do you really have the best possible person that can give you a chance to win? And I think what you're seeing are people that are motivated. Now, folks, joining us right now, and it's one of our guests that we have on Friday. And there she is. It's the Queen of Health. Welcome to November, Marie at It's My Health. Good afternoon, Marie.
Good afternoon, John. Yes, the calendar says November, but it feels like September, right? We'll take it.
Now, I love this. You are prepared. You have some great products in front of you. Take it away.
So today I thought I would just highlight some of our local products. Betty's honey. She's been a beekeeper for many, many years. Her father before her. Her honey is incredible. I just picked up a new batch today. We sell tons of it. Great in tea, great for allergies, just great tasting to use even in cooking. Then a local company out of Warren makes elderberry syrup, and they make fire cider, which is a great thing to take during the winter time. A shot of that every single day. Onions, garlic, ginger, horseradish, hot peppers. I make it myself, but it's so nice to be able to, to get that already made, ready to go. That shot of it every day will keep you healthy. It really will. And then we do have a company locally that does make maple syrup, so I like to talk about them as well. It's nice. I mean, do we really want our maple syrup from Canada? Not. It's good. We get
No.
it from Vermont. We can get it from New Hampshire. But, it's really nice to support the local companies. And then we do have a medical esthetician who designed a skin brush that is made locally, and she's local. It's a great product. She makes one for the face and one for the body. People use skin brushing, helps to move the lymphatic fluid. But when you buy the brushes, one, they're from China. Two, they're treated with formaldehyde. And then when you use them, they collect skin cells and bacteria. So you reuse them and you've got skin cells and bacteria. When you use this, you rinse it and you're done. And it's good to go for the next time. And it lasts like forever. So you buy it once. I bought them as Christmas gifts one year and it was great.
I love that, folks. She is the queen of health, Marie, and It's My Health, 1099 Mendon Road in Cumberland. I love the local products. Marie, just touch on, people are really discovering how honey is so good for you and what a benefit it is to the body. And this is delicious, wonderful local honey that people can purchase.
Honey is good. It never goes bad. If you buy honey that is from a bee farm, it is not pasteurized or anything. The enzymes stay alive in it forever. They have taken honey from Egyptian tombs that's thousands of years old that is still good honey. Honey does not go bad. It may crystallize, but it does not go bad. It's also good for wounds. And we sell honey sticks. People like to get them. The kids always love them because they're a nice sweet treat. But keeping those in your car, in your first aid kit, honey is really good on wounds. You're finding more and more of it. My mom's going through something right now. She's got some sores. And actually the nurses are putting honey on the sores. So I know animals who go to the vet who've had some wounds on their legs and things, and they're using honey because, again, there's nothing bad about it. Even if they lick it, it's going to be okay. But honey has a lot of really, really good properties.
It does, folks. It's Marie, and It's My Health, 1099 Mendon Road in Cumberland, diagonally across from Davenport. Marie, what are your hours on this Friday? I love the products you have highlighted and showcased this week. And what are your hours tomorrow, Super Saturday?
We're here till 5:30 today, and we'll be here from 9 to 4 tomorrow.
You are the queen of health. You are winning over fans every single week, and it is an honor and privilege to expose you to all your fans and so many people.
Marie, well, we have the best customers. We have the best customers. Love my customers.
Yep.
Thank you.
Folks, stop and see Marie. All right, Marie. Great job. Great job. A+. All right, folks, there it is. She is. Oh, I cut her off a little early. There it is. Marie, I love her. It's My Health, 1099 Mendon Road in Cumberland. Well, folks, good afternoon. And let me be very clear. I believe, and this is important, I think it says something that, as much as I like to, right now, the nature of road patrol is we focus on crime. I mean, when I saw Governor McKee yesterday, well, in a way, I could have covered it because there was definitely a crime that took place. But I believe the economy is up and down. The economy fluctuates. Yes, things are high. Yes, people are unhappy. I believe it's been Biden-Harris. And I think the vice president, she's been unable to. And I think this is it. I think people have decided. I think the number of people, if there are really people that haven't decided at this point, I don't know, maybe they're not going to vote. But I think that and I'm not sure it was even attainable, but I think she failed in her bid to separate herself from the president. Maybe you can't do it. Maybe, and what I mean by that is I'm not sure if there was a path to be able to do that. And Biden continues to cause problems with all the things that he says and the garbage comment. Every time he pops his head out, he just reminds everyone that he's still around. I also come back to, she had an opportunity to pick Josh Shapiro. I think the state of Pennsylvania is deciding the election. I do. And Harris had an opportunity to pick the governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro. And a problem in the Democrat Party right now is the anti-Semitism that exists. So many of those protesters against Israel, and her team got feedback and decided we can't pick Josh Shapiro because Democrat voters, especially in places like Dearborn, Michigan, that they wouldn't like him because of his support for Israel. So, this is the final sprint, and then Monday, Tuesday are the final 2 days. But I believe when this thing is said and done, that the Democrat Party, the Harris campaign, what they have to ask themselves, did they truly put the two best candidates on the field? And the answer is no. Folks, I want to say welcome November. Yes, Road Patrol Live later. Thank you to JR for a great week. Thank you to everyone tuning into our radio show. We will be live on Facebook and all our platforms later. Those on the radio, stay tuned for the 2 o'clock news. Enjoy your weekend.